It's the thought that counts. These were my mother's dreaded words that she would say to me when I would open up a Christmas gift that I didn't enjoy or I didn't like. And she would remind me that it's the thought or the intention behind the gift that's more important than the gift itself. And as I reflect upon those words, I think about the passage in John 21:15, which is actually the same passage that Pastor Stan recently spoke a great sermon out of. And I wanted to reiterate it here today. And so what we find in the passage is Jesus, he asked Simon Peter 3 times, "Do you love me?" And Peter responds, "Yes, I do love you," 3 times. And Pastor Stan made the argument that Jesus was talking about love, whereas Peter may have been talking more about trust. And to add on to that, it's important to look at the word love that's used in this passage. And the word love that Jesus uses in this passage is agape love. But the word love that Peter uses in the passage is phileo love. And so, as many of you know, agape is more of a divine, selfless, unconditional love, while in contrast, phileo, you think about the city of Philadelphia, city of brotherly love, it's more of a fraternal or brotherly love. And so some scholars are arguing that Jesus is saying, "Peter, do you agape love me?" And Peter's saying, "Yes, Jesus, I phileo love you." And so there's a miscommunication of what love is. And it makes me think about a memory I have in high school when I was in 9th or 10th grade. I was at school, which meant that I was at home because I was homeschooled. And my mother, she has many strengths, and one of her greatest strengths is that she knows what her strengths aren't. And so she knows that one of her strengths isn't math or teaching mathematics. So she taught me all of the subjects with the exception of math. So I would get all of my subjects done in the morning, in the afternoon, and then at night my mom decided to have my father, who's really good at math, teach me. And so my father would work all day and he would come home during dinner time, and then after dinner we would learn math together or study math together. And these times studying math together, they were horrendous. They were really bad. Every time, I kid you not, 99% of the time we would get into arguments. We would disagree. A lot of times I would end up crying, and it was terrible. And so I decided to talk to my principal and talk to my mom about this, and we decided to fire my father and let him go and hire my brother. And so my brother decided to step in and relieve my father of the duties, and the same exact thing happened. Instead of me fighting with my brother, it was now me fighting with my father. It was just me fighting with my brother now. And it was the same exact experience. And so my mom realized that it wasn't my father or my brother's issue. The issue and the problem was me. And looking back at that experience, I'm finally, hopefully, mature enough to realize that my father was doing his best just to try to express love to me. If you think about it, he was busy all day working, he was with patients, and then he comes home and we eat dinner, and then afterwards he has to deal with this punk kid, this adolescent who's rebellious, has an attitude, thinks that he knows it all, and it's just tough to deal with an adolescent like that. So Dad, if you're watching this, I apologize, and thank you so much for expressing love to me in this way. But perhaps this story resonates with you to some degree. Maybe it's a son, a daughter that you might have, or maybe it's a mother or father or a coworker, a friend, where there's just a miscommunication of love that's occurring. And so I believe the action steps, or the call to action, is twofold. And I believe both steps or processes involve empathy. So the first step is, if you're the individual giving love, so for example my dad in the last example or memory. If you can do your best to get into the shoes and empathize with the person receiving the love, and try to tailor your expression of love to his or her needs. And that's what love is, right? You don't just give this general love that the individual, the receiver, wants or needs. You do your best to tailor it so that they can view it as love. Now, the second action step is, if you're the individual who's receiving the love, do your best to give the benefit of the doubt to the sender, the individual trying to give love, and realize that he or she is trying his or her best to express love to you. So in other words, we can't control how others love us, right? But we can control how we love others, and we also can control the way that we might interpret others' expression of love toward us. So, said it another way, if you are a wife or a female partner who's watching your husband or male partner struggle to put up a Christmas tree, and he's putting it up wrong, and he's putting up all the ornaments in the wrong places, and the lights are crooked, and it just looks disastrous, do your best to realize that your husband's doing his best, that he thoughtfully put a lot of time and energy to buy an overpriced tree, and that he's trying to love you in this way. And husbands, if you're putting up that tree, do your best to really get into the shoes of your wife or your female partner and decorate the tree in a way that she would appreciate it, so that she can see it as an expression of love. Am I using this example as from personal experience? Maybe, who knows? But for this holiday season, may it be such a blessing for you. May your holiday season be abundantly filled with love. And when you see that another person or individual is giving love to you, and you're noticing that you might be misinterpreting that expression of love, please be reminded that it's the thought that counts.